Texas may be looking for a new attorney general. This comes after lawmakers in the GOP-controlled state house voted to impeach Ken Paxton over the weekend.
He's accused of abuse of office and bribery. Paxton is now suspended pending his trial in the state Senate. Let's bring in Mark Jones, a professor of political science at Rice University, to talk about this really history-making moment in Texas. Mark, good morning. For years, we know you have followed the scandals that have surrounded Paxton. He's often been referred to as Teflon Ken. So what do you make of him being impeached by his own party?
Well, we are in unprecedented territory. You really have to go back to 1917 when Governor Jim Paul Ferguson was impeached to find another impeachment of this magnitude in Texas. As you mentioned, the Attorney General's a Republican. There's a majority of Republicans in both the House and the Senate. Yet he also is someone with a very tattered and very tarnished record, both in terms of criminal malfeasance as well as things like adultery. So what's going to be difficult for him, but also for the Republican Party, is the Senate trial, which will occur at some point this summer. Could be as early as June, could be a little later, where the Senate will have to determine whether he merits impeachment or not, and they'll have to do it by a 2/3 vote and without the pressure of, say, the Speaker, which was the case in the House, to vote for impeachment. So because we remember in the House, Speaker Dade Phelan was firmly behind impeachment and pretty much threatened all of the Republicans that if they didn't vote with him, they would face reprisals in terms of committee assignments and the ability to be effective in the legislature.
Now, Mark, we have a situation where Paxton's wife is a state senator. One of the allegations is bribery tied to an extramarital affair. Does she have to recuse herself, or can she take part in this trial?
Well, the law is vague. Since we don't have much precedent and the law is not very specific, it'll really come down to the rules for the trial that are drafted by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and his team. One part of Texas law says that every senator has to be there in attendance. Of course, if we were using more criminal trial proceedings, such as for a jury trial, we would not have a spouse on that jury. So it's uncharted territory, and really the lieutenant governor will be able, through the rules that he crafts, to make it either a fact that Paxton has to recuse herself, or that she has the opportunity to recuse herself or not, or that she doesn't have the opportunity to recuse herself, although she could always vote present at the time of the impeachment.
All right, and Texas has only impeached 2 public officials in its history, Mark, never an attorney general. So if he is convicted in the Senate, would Paxton be able to hold any other office ever in Texas?
No, under Texas, that would be part of the impeachment process, but most likely he would never be able to hold elected office in Texas again, which is different from, say, the expulsion of Representative Brian Slayton, where you can come back in the future and seek office.
Now, Paxton calls the investigation corrupt. He's one of the most prominent AGs in the entire country, one of former President Trump's closest allies. He is not going down without a fight, is he?
No, not at all. And I think what Paxton will point to is the fact that all Republican primary voters last May knew about all of these allegations. They had heard about them in the campaign. His opponents in the Attorney General Republican primary last year spent close to $20 million informing these Republican primary voters of his malfeasance, and they still, by a 69% to 31% margin, voted for him over George P. Bush. So the reality is, in spite of all of his problems, Republican primary voters returned him to the nomination, and then in November, Texas voters, by a 10% margin, returned him to the office of Attorney General. So his point would be, they know all about this. They looked at these allegations. They didn't care about them, so this should not be an impeachable offense.
All right, Mark Jones, professor of political science at Rice University. We should point out Governor Abbott has so far stayed silent on his Attorney General's impeachment. Mark, a lot more to come on this, and I'm sure we'll be checking back in with you to ask you more questions. Appreciate your time this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. I look forward to it.
All right. And we want to remind our viewers that we have everything you need to know about this story online. We have more on the impeachment process, along with the allegations that the state's Attorney General has faced over the past 8 years. You can check it out all on our website at fox26houston.com.